Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Tonight you'll notice we're in the camper van. My room's not quite photo ready, so I thought the best place would be to come out in the drive and just sit in my camper van. I can edit the photos here in peace. In my last video, Bruce left a comment and he was asking could I start sharing how I edit my photos. So as an example, I've used the 3 images that I shot at Upper Loch Rhind in my last video. That's the shot which I'll show a little bit later on, of where I used the grasses to frame the photo. So if you saw my last video, you'll have seen that I've explained what I was doing and the 3 images that I took and the 3 separate focal points. So I framed the shot around the grasses. I then looked at the rock in the middle of the loch, and then I looked at the trees at the back of the loch. And the reason I done that was so that I could bring the 3 shots together in post-processing so I could have a really sharp image. So as a reminder, I've attached a clip here. So for this composition, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the grass to frame my shot, and I'm going to take 3 images. The first image I'll focus in on the grasses, the second image I'll focus in on the rock, and then the third image I'll focus in on the trees, and then I can bring those 3 images together in post-processing and I'll have a full front to back sharp image. So I hope that helped jog your memory. So now let me walk you through how I focus stacked my images and how I use Lightroom and Photoshop. Now we're in Adobe Lightroom. I've imported the 3 images. They're all the 3 raw files that are here. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to edit my photo. So what I plan to do is make some global edits here. I'll just brighten the exposure a bit and lift the image. I'm going to put in a gradient filter, and what I'll do is I'll just reduce the highlights a bit and then reduce the exposure just a bit, not too much, a wee bit colour in the sky. Click done. Then I'll probably just up the vibrance just a little bit to 10, and then if I click reduce, remove chromatic aberration. So now what I want to do is, because we're going to be photo stacking, we need to make sure that the edits that I've made in the first image apply to all 3. So if we press shift and click on the third image, that selects the 3 thumbnails, and in order to copy all the edits from the first image to all 3, if I select synchronize, make sure I've checked check all, and then press synchronize, and then what that does is that applies all the edits to all 3 images, so it's consistent when I upload it into Photoshop. What I want to do is, if I double tap on the keypad or left click on a Microsoft computer, go up to edit and then select opening layers in Photoshop, and then what that'll do is that'll take those three images, open up Photoshop eventually because my laptop's running really slow, and then what it'll do is it'll create each image in its own separate layer within Photoshop. And as you can see, it's loaded the first image. Now it's attempting to load the second image. Yeah, apologies, my laptop is running really slow tonight. And now hopefully, not too long a wait, we'll have our third image. Okay, so there we have it. We've got all three images now loaded. And what you'll see if I disable each of the views, the thumbnails, what you'll see is this image. We've got sharp and the horizon and the trees. The second thumbnail was where I focused on the rock. And then the third thumbnail is where I focused on the grass. So you've got those three elements of focus throughout the three images. So now what we want to do is, in order to edit the images, if we select the three thumbnails, go to Edit, and then apply Auto Align. And the reason that we need to auto align, because I've focused on three different areas and I've got three different images, there is a difference in the size of the image. So now we've got auto alignment. If I double click and do edit and now do auto blend, what this does is this lets the Photoshop algorithm work out, hopefully, all the three sharpest elements in the photo, in each photo, and then merge them all together to give me a single image view that shows you the image being sharp from front right through to the back. And that's an error I haven't seen before. So as you can see, we've got a sharp image from front, middle and back. However, what you might have noticed is we've lost an element of the plant here. So sometimes the Photoshop algorithm is really good, but there are times where it misses elements in your photograph. So what I'll do is I'll flatten this image and then I'll walk you through how I replace this element of the plant. And what you'll also see is that there's an element in this photograph that just is wrong. So what I'll do is I'll show you how, using a spot healing brush, how we can remove this plant. We've got our final image. As you can see, there's an element missing. So if I go over to Lightroom, deselect the thumbnails, I know that the detail that I'm looking for is in this first image. So if I edit in Photoshop and bring this image into Photoshop, what I'll do is I'll show you how I take that element out of the photo to enhance the sharpened photo that we've just auto aligned and auto enhanced. And it looks like the laptop is running really slow again. Here we are. So our image has arrived in Photoshop. So what I can do is double tap and then move to the new window, and then what I can do is drag that image and place it above my edited image. Now what I'll do is I'll just make sure they're aligned. So if I go back and highlight the two layers and do edit, auto align, okay, so we've now got an aligned image. So if I select layer 1, because this is the image that we brought in, because you can see that there's not a lot of detail in the rock, and there's definitely no detail in the horizon. So if I create a layer mask, select the pen tool, and now I've got black. So what I want to do is rub out all the information on this top image. So as you'll start to see, as I rub out, the detail starts to come back. So the rock, everywhere, because all I want is that component. So if I delete and rub out everything, I'll show you how I can pull that detail back on the mask using the mask. So if I deselect for a second, we'll just show us on the thumbnail. So there's an element here in white, and then there's an element over here in white. So it's now completely black. So if I switch to white and reduce the pen size, they'll slide over. That will reveal the detail that I need to pull back into my photo. So now I've finished that, if I do Control or Command E, that'll flatten the image automatically for me. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but when you look at the image, there's one of the plants is growing out of the photo, and it's really distracting. So what I can do now is I can select the spot healing brush. If I just increase the size a bit, I can then see if we can remove that plant out of the photo. Now again, that's personal choice. It's completely up to you if you want to keep it in or if you want to take it out. Personally, that would really annoy me, so I'm removing it. And ideally, if I had noticed that when I was taking the photo, I wouldn't need to do this. But I'll just show you how easy it is to remove elements of your photograph using a spot healing brush. And then those areas that haven't completely blended properly, if we zoom in, I can show you. You can see the areas quite easily here. So if I just keep using the spot healing brush, maybe not. Yeah, so it just gently does it, and then the spot healing brush starts to take those anomalies out. Now while we're here, I've spotted here a bit of noise on my photo, which must have been on my camera lens. So if I use the spot healing brush, that then removes it. So there you are. Using the spot healing brush, we can take that plant out. So what I'll do now is I'll file, export as a JPEG. I'll save it as upper loch round. Replace. And there we have our final image. So I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope you can play this back, and I hope you can attempt to do your own images. I hope that helped and gave you an insight into focus stacking and how I used and removed elements of the photo that I didn't like. There are other ways to edit images together, and that I could share in another video tutorial. Until then, thank you all very much. Please press like and subscribe if you haven't already. And remember, if you're new to YouTube, subscribe is free. So thank you, and see you in the next video.